Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to install the 54-inch mower deck on a John Deere X380 riding mower. I have another video showing you how to uninstall the deck, as well as videos showing you how to uninstall and install the 44-inch front blade. Some people might think this is kind of stupid, but if you're a first-time riding mower owner like me, I find it kind of helpful to see tutorial videos in full color, because sometimes it can be kind of hard to see what's going on in these black and white pictures in the manual if you're not that familiar with these machines. So for each step of the process, I will show the corresponding step in the manual and then the real thing here on the actual mower. So first up here, park it safely, make sure it's cool and all that. Adjust mower cutting height to the lowest position. So if you don't know how to do that, we're going to go over here. You need to adjust this knob down here. I already have mine in the lowest position, but if it is not in the lowest position, you're going to push the lift pedal down, pull the lock lever, which I'm having trouble doing right now for some reason. There we go. Then you can adjust this guy, so if it was already up higher, you're going to lower that down to the lowest position. Leave that locked for now. The next step, slide mower deck under tractor and line up deck bracket A with draft arm B, is actually kind of a pain. Whoops, sorry, I messed up my zoom there. With this particular deck and riding mower combination, because this is one of the bigger decks and one of the smaller mowers. As you can see here, the distance between the wheels, so I'm filming at a perfect time to have the sun coming through the window directly into my camera, but the distance between the wheels actually isn't just barely too small to actually slide the deck under there. So I'm going to have to put the camera down because I need two hands to do this. The two ways around that: one, you can make your life easier by just getting the mower up on some 2x4 blocks or something to give you a little more clearance under the wheels. The other is to, especially if you're doing this yourself like I am, kind of have to finagle it under there by adjusting the steering. So if I turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, that gives me enough clearance. Let's see if I can do this with one hand while I'm still holding the phone with my other hand here, to kind of start getting under there. But then you can see I'm going to start to hit the wheel on the other side. So as I get closer to that side, I'm going to have to go back. And you can see I'm also hitting the front wheel with that part now, but I've got some clearance on the back, so I can pull the whole thing back, get past there, and then I'm hitting over there too, so I'm going to need to now turn the wheels to the right and keep sliding it under. So again, I'm going to put the phone down so I have both hands to do that, but this might not be a problem if you have a bigger mower or a smaller deck. It is sort of a pain with this combination. Okay, so let's go back to this step 4, slide mower deck under tractor and line up deck bracket A with draft arm B. And that's where it can be kind of hard to tell what the hell's going on in these black and white diagrams. So, looking at this in color, deck bracket is this yellow thing with this J pin you can pull on here, and the draft arm is the black thing directly above it. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see both at the same time a little better. So, deck bracket, draft arm. What you're going to do in the next step is lower this thing down so this hole aligns with, I can see that, this pin. So that black part is going to slide in between these two yellow pieces here. You're going to pull this pin out all the way, get the hole in the black part lined up, and then slide the pin back in. And we're going to go do the same thing on the other side. Before that, we're going to unlock the mower lift lock lever and pull the lift pedal back by hand to lower the draft arm. So go up here. We're going to unlock the lever, pull this guy back by hand, and what we should see, if I go back over here, is that the draft arm is now lower. So remember, a minute ago this was way up high. This is now lower and lined up with this guy. So, yeah, we're going to look at the directions here. Pull back J pin C and insert through deck bracket and draft arm. Verify pin installs completely through deck bracket. Repeat for other side. So, see, it might be impossible for me to do this with one hand, but I'm going to keep pushing the deck in so the draft arm lines up. Pull the pin back so it falls into that hole. And again, I'm probably going to need two hands for this part, but I'm going to need to now finagle this so all three holes line up and the J-pin goes through all 3 of those holes. So I'm going to put the camera down for a second so I can do that. So pausing kind of halfway through here to film again. The danger here is that you want to make sure this J-pin goes back in perpendicular. So the way I have it right now, I don't know if the camera's going to focus on this very well. It is kind of going through the hole on the black draft arm, but it's not going through the other hole all the way on the other side of the yellow deck bracket. So if I go over to the one on the left side of the mower here that I already did, you can see this pin went in nice and straight. And again, I don't know if I can really show this. I don't think I can quite fit the camera all the way in there to see it, but it is going all the way through all 3 holes there. The pin's nice and perpendicular. You can see this one is crooked, so even though I got a sound initially like it had snapped into place, it's not all the way in. So again, I got to put the camera down so I can use 2 hands and make sure I get this to go all the way through there properly. Okay, so I got that one in there perpendicular as well. Next up, we are going to go install front draft rod A onto mower bracket B. So here we got black and white diagram with, a million different letters here. So if we go over, the front draft rod is this thing. If I move out of the way, some of the parts I had from uninstalling the plow blade a minute ago. Something that's a little tricky about this thing, it's not symmetric top to bottom. So you can flip it over like this or like that, and it's not entirely obvious from the diagram, if I try to zoom in there, which way is up. So again, I might have to put the camera down so I can look nice and closely and try to figure that out. It looks like if I look real closely at the diagram and how the sides are attached there, that this side is supposed to be up. So the perpendicular pin sticking out is above this part of the bar. So I have it upright the way it is here. And this back part, if I can film this, it's going to hook in there. And then we're going to pull these up, pop these pins out, slide the pins into these holes on the black bracket, and then pop these pins back into place. So I'm going to need to put the phone down again to do that with 2 hands, but I'll show you the finished product when it's done. Double checking the directions there. I should have actually read this before I showed the picture. Install mounting stud C into draft bracket D on each side. Note orientation of stud offset when installing. Correct orientation is for stud to be offset above draft rod. So again, that is saying that this thing here, the stud, is supposed to be above the draft rod, not below it. If you have this thing on the bottom, then you have the whole thing upside down. And then secure each side with the locking clip and install draft rod on the mower bracket. So according to the directions here, I actually did that backwards. I'm supposed to put the studs into the black part up here first and then hook the yellow part onto the back. Not sure how much it matters. If this doesn't work, then I will take it off and try it the other way. All right, so checking in part way, I got one of the studs in. The back part is attached to the bracket, but then this one, you can see, isn't lined up. So let's see what I can do with just one hand here. I'm going to try and pull this side of the mower deck forward, and that isn't really working. So again, I'm going to need 2 hands. It can kind of take some force or some finagling to get this thing in there. Be careful not to pinch your fingers. You can see if I look back here, I don't know if the camera's going to show this very well, but there's a gap right there. So the draft rod can clearly come forward a little bit, but things are a little out of whack. So again, I'm trying to pull this forward. You can see it's kind of getting closer and closer to that hole, and it should pop in once I get it into place, but I'm going to put the phone down so I can do that with both hands. All right, second to last thing here, using a 3/8 inch ratchet, rotate and hold tension arm A under left side of fender deck forward while installing mower belt B on engine sheave C. And as usual, we have a black and white diagram where you might not be able to tell what all of those things are. So 3/8 inch ratchet, you don't actually need a socket on it, you just need the ratchet, and blah, 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 tension arm. So tension arm is this thing here. Tension arm because it's got a giant spring attached to it that is going to be really hard to pull forward by hand. Your goal is to get this belt far enough forward so you can hook it on to this thing here, which is the engine sheave. But again, it doesn't have enough slack in the belt to reach that. It's really hard to pull by hand, so what you do, try and zoom out and show this a little better, you take your 3/8 inch ratchet, you slot the square end of it into the square hole here, and this ratchet is actually too big because I'm an idiot. Hold on, wrong size. There we go. 3/8 inch drive. Slot that. Pardon the truck going by outside. You can hear me over the tractor, much larger John Deere tractor going by. So slot the ratchet in there, and that gives you enough leverage to pull this forward, which is going to give you enough slack to get the belt far enough forward that you can pull it up onto the engine sheave. As usual, I wonder if this time I might be able to prop the phone up to show that or something, but probably not. Maybe. Okay. Prop the phone up. Use one arm to pull this forward, the other arm to get in here and grab the mower belt. I need to go double check and make sure I don't actually have something wrong with the... Oh, no, there we go. So even with the ratchet, kind of takes a lot of... I'm also at an awkward angle here because the phone's kind of in the way. But watch your fingers, because if you let this slip, that belt is really going to pinch your hand against the pulley there, and that's not going to be pleasant for your fingers. Lay off the tension. And there you go. Now I've got the belt attached to the engine sheave. That's going to drive everything down here and make your blade spin. Final step here, all of the anti-scalping wheels are still pointed sideways from sliding the deck in and out under the mower. So I'm going to raise and lock the deck. You can set the deck height if you want, and you're going to rotate these wheels to the forward position by pulling out this pin, rotating, and then of course you can adjust the height depending on the height you're going to have your mower deck set. So that is it. There's another entire process in here about leveling the deck. That is a topic for another video. I've never actually done that one myself, so it might be an interesting one to tackle. For now, I am just kind of hoping this is still level from how I had it last year. But there you go. Took the plow off, put the mower deck on, have a series of videos showing you how to install and uninstall each one. If you have a comment or a suggestion, please go ahead and leave it below this video. Thank you.